Hey, hey,
Hi, Alex, how are
Motiul.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Mhm.
I'm all right, not too bad, not too
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. Good to see you. Good to see you.
See you,
How
man.
have you been? How do you pronounce your name, actually? Is it Motiu?
Chill, yeah,
Motiu. Yeah. Cool.
yeah,
Cool. 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 Yeah. Doing okay. Doing okay. How about you? Everything good? Mhm.
yeah. Can't complain. Everything is good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With all this London now going into tier three and all those kind of things, yeah. Seems like everything is happening, yeah.
Yeah, well. If the virus is
Hmm.
getting out of control, then I suppose they ain't got really much of a choice. They're gonna do what they need to do.
They have to do, yeah. And
Yeah.
they're announcing as well there's like a new strain of the virus as well. So I wonder whether the vaccines will still be able to work. Imagine they do all this work and then the virus has mutated and the vaccines.
Hopefully, from what I saw yesterday, because I was watching the program yesterday, how they produce the vaccine and everything like that.
Yeah.
Vaccines have like a percentage effectiveness, and so from what it looks like, it's
Mm.
even if there is a new strain, as long as it's like a 70 to 95% effective, then
Yeah,
it
yeah.
reduces it overall, so it should still help.
It should still help. Yeah, should still help. Cool, cool, cool. So, yeah, like I said, yeah, thanks for coming on to speak to us. So this is just a general chat with you because obviously you've got quite a bit of experience in different spaces and property and all of that. So the podcast just generally gets to capture people's inspirational stories of people who have done various things in life to sort of inspire others. You know what your journey basically. You know where you've come from and what have been the challenges, the successes, and any advice that you can offer to people so that people can get inspired from those kind of things. So it's just a knowledge sharing, you know. So it's good to just have these conversations over a cup of coffee, especially in these kind of COVID times, you know. Yeah, so it'd be good. So I thought probably just start off by just giving us a background of yourself, your journey, like the early days, you know, where you come from, what has been the journey to get you to where you are now, and then we can explore further from there in terms of what is happening now. So yeah, just take us through the early days, almost like a chronological order, like of yourself from humble beginnings and the journey, like even the family, the siblings, and everything else, and then we'll pick it from there. Yeah. Okay.
Cool, no problem.
Mm.
Came to the UK when I was 1 year old, not of my own decision. With my parents. So I'm originally from Bangladesh.
Yeah.
So I was born there. Came over when I was one, and was brought up in a council flat in South London. And eventually, by I think the age of 7, my parents bought their own house in East London. So we moved to East London, and that's where I've been brought up, and that's where I've lived most of my life. And I was not given the option. I was told I needed to go to private school at the age of 12. So it's not, well, it wasn't
like the most of us. Yes, absolutely.
It wasn't 12. Sorry, I think it was 11. I'm getting mixed up at the age that you go to secondary school. I should know it better because I've got my daughter who's about to go to secondary school as well.
Yeah.
But it was a religious school, and the education wasn't what I was expecting it to be. So I fell behind for the first 3 years when I eventually had to leave there and went to a normal school. But one thing that did do, because our opening times for the school was different, it allowed me to actually look for work at that age. So at the age of 12 is actually when I first started working.
Oh, wow.
So I started working at quite a young age. But I got my first job at the age of 16, I should say. So yeah. Although the official first job, I should say, at the age of 16, but from a young age, I've always wanted to do more, probably because I wanted to have more things than maybe my parents could provide. And I wasn't always expecting that they could provide it. I was always looking at how could I get it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's where it started.
Yeah.
That brings me kind of like to when I went through college and university, and where an entrepreneurial spark, I would say, kind of like started. So whilst once I had left college and went to university, I started investing in market stalls, not in the stalls themselves, but the market stall holders. So I would invest in them, in their stock, in the rent of their stalls, and it would be a JV, and I would receive a profit share off of whatever they sold. So that's one of the things that started, and it kind of like taught me one thing. I can only earn a certain amount of money myself if I spend, because just like everybody else, I've only got 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
There's only so much I can earn. Whereas if I have different people or different streams of income that I can make money with, so I can do JV with different people, I'm helping them to actually get themselves up, and I'm also by having an income stream which isn't something that I have to put all of my time into, and that made a lot of sense, and that naturally progressed onto property. So with property, I had a friend that was working in an estate agency, and he told me, look, there's loads of investors making money through property. You're the you're the ideal candidate. We should do something.
Yeah.
So I listened to him, and we actually tried to buy some properties. And at the age of 19, whilst I was at university, I tried to purchase 3 properties.
Yeah.
And the problem there was it was quite expensive at that age to go into property, and I got gazumped on all 3.
Wow.
I probably shouldn't have started with trying to buy 3 at the same time.
Not the best of starts, yeah, but then you kept going.
Well, what happened actually was I thought property is the worst thing. I was like cursing it. I was like, you know what? Don't do property. You're going to lose money. It's really expensive. If you make a mistake or this happens or that happens, you're going to lose money. It's not going to. And I had lost a lot of money. For me at that time, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to do property. It's the worst thing. I walked away from it. And it was the worst thing I've done. And I'll explain why. Because about 3 years later, I came back to property, because during that time I was still watching the market, how prices were changing, and the house prices had almost doubled in 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a crazy time. House prices were going crazy. So I then realized, you know what, I'd made a big mistake. I needed to be in property. That's where the money was being made, and it wasn't just rental. It was this appreciation of value.
The capital growth, yeah.
So it was like, had I put that money in, I wouldn't have had to pay the mortgage from my own pocket, but the value of this property would have gone up. And
exactly.
So that's when I decided, you know what, let's rethink it and do something and get back into property.
Yeah.
So
cool. But I mean, going back, just picking up on that point. I mean, with the benefit of hindsight, do you think you would have benefited with some kind of property education? Because would that have helped you like the 3 years before to actually go in rather than not doing it when you started and you had a chance to actually pursue it?
I think the next stage of my property journey, definitely it would have made a massive difference. But at that time, we're going back about 18, 19 years ago. So, and then if you're going back to when I started and I lost the first 3 properties by being gazumped, we're going back about 23 years ago. It probably would have, but at that time there wasn't education, there wasn't courses. So there was a few networking events, cropping up, starting, but this was in its infancy. There was no today courses, not even like that many books. There was one book that was brilliant though, which was Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I eventually did read, and it was definitely a brilliant book, which I would recommend to anybody that hasn't read it to definitely read that book. It will change your mindset, and if you're of that mindset anyway, it will just amplify what you're doing.
Absolutely. Now, I think just taking you back a little bit, because one of the things, when people are looking either to start in business or maybe they have the natural sort of edge in business, is this issue about, in most cases, a lot of us were programmed with this education, go to school. So essentially the rich dad, poor dad message that, go to school and a good education, and then you can find a good job and work and all of that, and follow the natural path that will actually give you some sort of income. It may not give you in the end like financial freedom in the sense that entrepreneurs or business people do, but you sort of are programmed in that way. So I mean, taking or looking at your situation, and this, I look at my situation as well. Do you think there's an element of either the cultural upbringing or where the background of people plays a part in their mentality in terms of how they see the direction of money in the sense that either I get a job and then I'll have a good job, maybe be a doctor, an accountant or something. Or if you come from a certain background, it's all about business and struggle and, you have to hustle and, maybe go into business, try different things. And your mentality is different in that sense. Do you think, because I understand, Bangladesh is a bit similar to, my country in Africa and Malawi in the sense that there's a lot of poverty there. You can, if you do school, you do education, yes, but there's people, hustling in a lot of things, either, working or doing property or fixing things or businesses. And that's a sort of mentality that puts people into looking at opportunities in different things. And for me, it seems, maybe for you, obviously, you come here at an early age, but the parents and your background would have somehow instilled this element of go above and beyond just education. Look also outside. Maybe that's where someone talks to you about property, you pick it up. You want to try and you want to do things. How do you think that element plays a part in the cultural element, this kind of theme?
I think having education, it allows everybody to get to a certain level, and it gives it a certain level of a playing field. But education, everything is education. You never stop learning, right? So when you go to school, you learn. When you go to work, you learn. When you're doing things where you're trying to start a business, you're learning. Now, I think it's more to do with people putting fear into you. Don't do this, you might lose out. And that's probably the worst thing you can instill in a child, or you can instill in a person. Because a lot of the time we're not fearful of doing these things. We're not scared of losing money. We're not scared of. We're in the UK. If you didn't have a job and you didn't have, or your business went pear-shaped, what's the worst that could happen? It's you're going to start at the very bottom. But we're so scared of starting back or losing a little bit of what we've got. We don't push ourselves forward to do these things. And I think that fear factor stops a lot of people. And it's education, it's our background, because a lot of our parents will be like, go to school, go to college, go to university, get the education, and you can become a doctor because you're going to earn lots of money. It's really depends on your personality type, because we're all different. And a lot of the times we're quite opposite to our parents. So if our parents are really, they're scared about investing, or they're scared about losing, you'll find the children usually are slightly opposite. Or if they've been really instilled, then that's how they grow.
They'll be the same.
So I think education is not really just a school. Education is everyday life, what you learn out of it, and that builds everybody's character. And the more you get educated in the sector or the area you're in, the less fear you have of what you're doing. So somebody that's building, on a building site, putting up scaffolding, they can, do it like, jumping from one bar to another bar and things like that. But if you and I jumped on there, we'd be scared looking down.
Absolutely.
And that's an education for them as well. So this is just how it is.
But there must also be an element of the people around you, for example, how supportive they are in terms of you taking those risks, because sometimes if you have people who you admire and you respect, and you want to take this risk, and they are sort of maybe not discouraging you or telling you, oh, this can go wrong. Like you're saying, we like stability. If you get a good job, you're a doctor or an accountant, then you're stable, you can have a family and everything is set. But if you want to jump into something else, it's like, what if this goes wrong or whatever. But if people are supportive to say, yeah, we've got your back, give it a go, give it a try. If it doesn't work, maybe they will support you another way. Or even if it doesn't work the first time, they still, give you that added motivation and thing. Does that help as well to have people around?
I think that, again, depends on your personality. I've been a bit rebellious. So when people say, no, it can't be done, I have to find a way to make it work.
To make it work.
So maybe that's one of the things. But if you need that support and that would help you, I think then that would be really good to have that type of support. And I suppose now we have this support from different areas. So you have mentors, you have networks and things like that can support you. Me personally, when I started in property, I wanted to do some deals, and I was told you shouldn't, or these ain't going to work. From people that I thought were very knowledgeable in business and understood, how business works. Eventually, I realized or came to the understanding that, they do it their way, and I've got a different way. Although we might be aiming for the same end goal, and they're not understanding my path.
That's very key. That's very key, to understand, because just like you're saying, some people you respect and they're doing well in business. Their word can mean something, but it can also cut out your instinct, like the way that you want to do, like your rebellious spirits. I think sometimes it's all about letting people go and experience what they want to go. If it works, it doesn't work. Anything, like I read somewhere where it says, whether you win or lose, there's no losing. It's actually a lesson. In a way. So whatever happens, just learn from it and tweak and do it in a different way, but while being true to yourself. So what makes you happy, and what makes you tick, and what makes you motivated to go and do what you need to do, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, isn't it?
Exactly.
So you do stuff that's more aligned to your values and the goals that you set yourself. Otherwise, you're just moving and copying and doing what other people are doing. But in the end, it doesn't make you as happy or as enlightened, because it's not truly you to an extent. So that's a good point. So take us through your property journey then, like what did you get to do, how much, where you are, how did it go, and all the lessons and things within.
Okay.